there was an announcement made today. The U.S. has considered a request, an Australian request, to drop the charges against Julian Assange. Now, this is big because this is now the 5th anniversary since Julian has been in Belmarsh prison. And recently there was an attempt by Australia, an Australian diplomat, to try to convince the United States to bring Assange to Australia. And Biden answered a question to media saying that he is considering a request from Australia to drop the entire prosecution of Julian Assange. And there was a measure that recently passed that was backed by the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, that called for the return of Assange to Australia, where he's from. And of course, we know that the U.S. wants to extradite him. And that was shot down as well recently. There wasn't there wasn't going to be a mandate, so now it goes back to the court. But now the Biden administration says that they will consider it when he was asked. And Mr. Albanese said that he's increasingly optimistic about this and that they want Assange to return home. So again, it's really interesting development because I think that it's no coincidence that this coincides with Joe Biden's election coming up. I also think that there's a lot right now going on in the world. So that is also not really on the forefront. They've already pretty much done a lot to Julian mentally, physically. And I think that at this point they know that they've shown what could happen to you if you go this route. I mean, he has been in prison for a long time. Before that, he was persecuted, as we all know. So it would be great for Julian to be released. However, I'm not going to signal any victories until it actually happens, because they say a lot of things before the election to try to get traction. I want to show this video with Julian's Julian's brother, Gabriel, and being interviewed by Sky News, who, by the way, Sky News, the BBC, all of these mainstream media goons have been absolutely treacherous and terrible when it came to Julian Assange when he was actually being persecuted. It hasn't been until recent that they've actually changed their tune and actually started saying, oh, okay, yeah, maybe we shouldn't be pushing the persecution of a publisher or journalist, because maybe this could get ugly and have repercussions for us. Well, duh. And again, better late than never. But in one of these cases, I consider them far to be the hypocrites. And I want to watch this video if you have anything to say before that.
No, I just want to point out too as well, it's like you said, this is about the election situation, or at least, and people would say, well, why do they have to have this kind of like look or this image when you guys talk about the elections being unfair all the time? They can do it. They still got to get it close to make it believable, right? They don't want the people to go, oh, this is just ridiculous, and don't believe it. I think that they pushed that button too far the last election, 2020. So still public opinion is important for them to sway, because they want to keep the masses, in line. So if people are talking about this on the outside, what they're trying to project as their public image, that's a win for them. But since it is an election season, it wasn't just the fact that their rhetoric on Israel has changed and their rhetoric on Assange has changed. You'll see all these little things come out like, oh, the squashing of college debt right now. Oh, that's come right back into play, fam. How convenient to try to go after the younger vote when you control the media and you can say, Trump is awful, Trump is awful, Trump is awful. In fact, I think Hillary Clinton was on another show the other day, Jimmy Fallon, once again spewing all this nonsense about it's just an easy choice over here, Biden over Trump. You know what I'm saying? But if you can project this image, it's going to help you down the road. And that's why they're pulling out all the stops. That's why their rhetoric on Israel is different, but still they're still funding it behind the closed doors. Their rhetoric is different on Assange, but they're going to make sure that he's held captive and try to persecute him and kill him in prison. So this is just all, once again, more lip service to try to, repair their image that's already been damaged. But at the end of the day, you have to look at actions and you have to look at policy. And if you look at actions and you look at policy, you'll see that the Western government and the Israeli government is up to no good.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I think there's a lot of lip service being thrown out here right now.
The milli vanilli.
So let's go ahead and watch this video. WikiLeaks posted it earlier. So let's hear a little bit of what was said.
The US President Joe Biden has given WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange and his supporters and family the biggest sign of hope that he may yet be freed. Joining us live this morning is Julian Assange's lawyer Jennifer Robinson and his brother Gabrielle Shipton. Good morning to you both. Jennifer, I'll start with you first. I suppose the remark could mean anything, but he definitely heard the question from the reporter because it was said twice. Are you boosted by Biden's response at all?
We are, of course, encouraged by his response, Pete. This is what we've been asking for over 5 years. It's the 5th anniversary today that Julian's been in a high security prison, since he was arrested in the UK and since he's been in prison in the UK in relation to this extradition request. Since 2010, we've been saying this is a dangerous precedent that's being set. Since the Trump administration initiated this indictment, not just us, but all free speech groups have been saying that this is setting a dangerous precedent. And this is what we've been calling for. So we certainly hope that it was a serious remark and that the US will act on it.
So, I mean, there has been the question of whether or not, if Julian Assange was extradited to the US, whether a death penalty would apply to it. I suppose that kind of cloud might still be hanging over Biden's response, might it not?
Well, of course, the High Court in the UK has asked the US to provide assurances both that Julian would, if he's extradited to the United States, that he would not face the death penalty and that he would be enabled to rely on the First Amendment, that he'd have constitutional free speech protections. The US has not yet responded to those assurances. And so it's interesting in this context, when the ball's been put back in the US court by the British courts, that the US president is coming out saying that they're considering dropping it. As I said, we've been asking for this to happen. The Biden administration should drop this case. This is the position we've been putting for a long time. It's what we've been asking the Australian government to ask of the US government. And so we really hope that this is the position that the US government is now going to take.
Yeah, it has gone long enough, that's for sure. Gabrielle, over to you now. So from a family perspective, how do you feel about those comments from Biden this morning?
Well, I mean, it was a nice surprise to wake up to this morning, these comments from the president. But really, I see it as a sort of a foot in the door now for the Australian government and those people advocating for Julian around the world to really double down on these comments and really push hard now for Julian to be returned home to his family, back to Australia. You know, Biden has opened the door a little bit here, and it's really the time for those advocating for Julian in the government and others abroad. Julian's high-profile advocates in governments all around the world to really jump on these comments and really push hard, because I think now is a really time to seize that moment to get Julian back to Australia.
Yeah, last time we spoke, Gabrielle, he didn't attend that court hearing because he wasn't feeling well. How's he doing at the moment?
Well, he's he's hanging in there. This whole process has taken its toll on him, and we're told by medical experts that he can recover if he's let out of prison. But the longer he's kept in there, the longer he's in danger of just wasting away and losing his life. And that's what we're really fearful of his family, is that he can't hang on, that he won't make it through this process.
Okay. Gabrielle and Jennifer, really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you. We'll talk to you again soon.
Fam, I did leave out a few things that the chat reminded me of. We got some smart people in the chat, by the way. Also, too, they changed the rhetoric on not just Assange, but, the abortion, reproductive rights. All of a sudden, the Democrats come around and start talking about that. Racism, right? They start bringing that up. In fact, the Democrats want to rename the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Is that what it's called? Because he was a white slave owner. So they want to do that. So, yeah, they bring all these things to the forefront. But the question that really just drove me crazy over there, too, as well. And somebody in the chat also saying, but he'll be dead in 12 months. What do you mean? So leave him in there? Brilliant idea, buddy. They're trying to slowly torture him in jail, and they can easily kill him in jail if they wanted to. His freedom, it's imperative right now. I'd rather him get out and get a chance, get off the map, live out the rest of his life. He's done his work. He deserves to be set free. But the question when they ask, well, how's he doing and everything there? With the torture and everything, fam, how's he doing over there? Is he okay? Of course he's not doing all right. He's been held captive and been slowly tortured in a freaking Belmarsh prison, which is the Guantanamo Bay of freaking England. Of course he's not doing okay over there, fam.
Yeah, I mean, if they release him, I don't think like the eyes will be off of him, but I think it is still a win for him to see his family, his children that he hasn't seen, and to be out of this torturous environment because again, he suffers from a lot of ailments because of his imprisonment, and even in the court, they went over the fact that he is on the spectrum and it makes it even more difficult, and they talked about his health issues. And so again, like it would be a win, but I don't think that it would be granted in terms of, oh yeah, let's free him and never talk to him again or never spy on him again. I still think that he is going to be somebody that's going to have to take precautions.
Yeah, he's safer in jail. Sure, idiot. Anyways,